Peace, 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 y'all. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole, and this is the one and only AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. Streaming live from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Pandora, Clubhouse, Spooncast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Anchor. So happy to see y'all this morning. And today the topic is how mental health can affect your relationships. Chill back for a few more seconds and listen to this dope beat, and we're going to jump right into the topic. Period. So, y'all, I'm so happy to finally be feeling better. Oh my goodness, it's been like the roughest 3 weeks ever. Hello? Okay. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about how mental illness and disease can affect relationships, right? So, because mental illness is such a wide range topic and it can happen to you at any time, place, and space and moment in your existence, mental illness can affect many aspects of your existence, including your intimate partnership relationships, right? Both personal and interpersonal relationships, right? So, a lot of individuals or people experience hesitancy or fear to disclose to their partners due to continued stigma surrounding mental health, right? So communication is key to having healthy, high vibrational relationships despite mental health possible struggles, right? And you know what disclosure are? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. We're definitely going to get into why you should disclose, because some people don't disclose because they don't want to be alone. But disclosing your mental health status, it gives people the choice to decide whether or not they want to be in a relationship with you, or if they're already in a relationship with you and you happen to come mental disease or mental illness happens to be unlocked or just happened to you. It's wise to let your partner know so they can decide how to show up for you in that relationship to make the relationship still secure and healthy for both of you, right? And especially themselves, okay? Because a lot of boundaries need to be set when you're in a relationship with someone with mental illness. Right. So definitely having a healthy relationship can be an amazing support for you, and a high vibrational resource. Your decision to disclose, most people say it's up to you, but this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that us up. We're not dealing with that flowery bullshit that society tells you. They want to coddle everyone. I think that telling someone that you have a mental illness is just like telling someone whether or not you have a disease, right? You want to get that checked out. You want to get updates. You want to know what's going on. I don't think that it's fair to anyone you're going in a relationship with for you to suffer from a mental illness and not disclose it. I'm not saying disclose it to someone you're dating. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to someone that you're in a full-fledged relationship with, and say, for instance, you have schizophrenia and you're low on meds, and something happens where you have an episode and something happens, and they're not able to gauge because they don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? They're not able to understand what's going on, and you're out of yourself. You're not in yourself. You're out of yourself, and you're having a mental breakdown or a mental episode, right? That can be completely dangerous for you and everyone involved. So this is why I say disclosing. I'm not saying you're forced to disclose them. But a lot of people don't tell because they feel like that people are going to think less of them. And many people do. Many people think they use it as a weapon in relationships. Like, oh, you're just mental right now. They use it as an excuse for them to do things and take advantage. So I do understand why people wouldn't want to disclose that. But that's almost like being in a relationship expecting honesty and support, to be given to you, or you to give it to someone else, and you're not able to fully show up for that. You get what I'm saying? But you're expecting it back from them, right? Hello? So a healthy relationship needs trust and communication. So you may not disclose right away, but it's definitely something that you should definitely consider to do, because you cannot have a honest, a trusting, a high vibrational relationship without disclosing your mental health. You just can't. It's not possible. It's just not possible, because somewhere along that line, they're going to find out. And if they find out and they break up with you can't blame anyone but yourself. You can't say they're shallow. You can't say they're this or that because you never gave them the opportunity to decide whether they had the capacity to be in a relationship with someone who has mental health issues. And I know that sounds really, really low. I get it. But as humans, we have to have way more integrity than that. So whenever you decide to disclose, keep that in mind that the longer you wait, the more possibilities you give someone the opportunity to walk away. Instead of in the beginning letting them know what's going on, letting them know that you're managing it, you're okay. You're going to the doctor if you need to, you're going to therapy if you need to, or if you choose to. These things matter because when you are not disclosing, like I said, we don't always want to think of the worst, but we know as humans living in this fourth dimension that the worst can happen. Hello, right? So, it's not the same experience as saying having an educational experience. I know, but literally when you share with your partner and you tell them what's going on, and they're there, like, you know what, I'm your partner. I want to be with you so we can go through this. Do you mind if I, learn more about what's going on with you and talk to you about it? And then you establish boundaries so your partner can stay safe. Not saying that you're anyone that's going to harm your partner, but we all know that mental illness can go up and down, right? So it's safe boundaries for your partner, so they're not being projected onto, they're not being hurt, and they're also not hurting you and projecting onto you. So you need to set clear boundaries as well. Like, hey, I have mental illness, but I'm not this way. Hey, I have mental illness, but you're not going to be able to take advantage of me. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so wise for you to set boundaries, and it's also wise for you to disclose. So on both ends, security is being brought to the relationship. Hello, right? So, a lot of the time, when you do disclose, it helps normalize it. It helps to normalize it, and you're not ostracized or ostracized, however you like to say the word, when they find out. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, a lot of times people bring up like, "Oh, that person was crazy," and they already label you with mental illnesses and stuff anyway. So listen, I just say that to keep yourself safe, to keep everyone safe, so you can have boundaries around yourself, and they don't have to wonder why you're so closed off sometimes or why you're so protective of you, that you just tell them whenever you get, feel comfortable enough to do that, right? So let's get into the next part about intimacy. So having a mental illness can and will affect intimacy in a lot of different ways. Like depression can leave you disinterested in just talking to your partner or just having sex. And that sex and like communication is a physiological need, right? And a safety need. Okay, so intimacy can be triggering for you. Say if you had something happen to you, and it definitely being on like if you're on medication for mental illness, it can decrease your libido. Okay, it can decrease your libido. It can make you sick a lot. So it's always wise for you to also monitor medications if you're on them, so that you can regulate and take lower doses until you're able to stop taking the medicine, or fix them if you need higher doses, whatever you need to do to make you feel more comfortable and more like yourself. Okay. So, but that definitely can affect your relationship with your partner, because you may not want to be touched. You may feel hot. You may feel bloated. You may feel just completely drained and tired. Um, and different things like that. So, like regulating your medicine, or even if you're not on medicine, just regulating, processing your triggers and different things of that nature, it's still going to affect your intimacy. So just know that, okay? And a lot of times when you're experiencing things, we don't talk about it. So literally this whole entire podcast is going to be on mental health, but literally about you learning how to effectively communicate and comprehensively receive and communicate with other people if you're suffering from mental illness. Hello, right? Is this thing on? Right. When you are defining those boundaries and you're having that effective communication and comprehensible communication, you're able to provide safe spaces for you and your partner both okay, intimately. That's why. You don't want to have spaces where you don't feel safe. Because you don't feel safe, you're not going to share. If you're not going to share, you're not going to trust. If you're not going to trust, why are you in a relationship? Hello? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So your mental illness can and affect other aspects of your relationship with your partner. Listen, a lot of the times, It can affect our ability to express empathy towards others. It can make us feel extremely the anxiety can rise up within, and it can also make us feel like, you know what, I just want to be by myself. I just want to isolate myself, because I can't be bothered. And it's not that you can't be bothered because you don't love someone, or you just feel like, you know what, you have some triggers going on. And especially if you're not on like having therapy or like different things that help your mental health along, like doing wellness things, or like the last resort if you're on medication, then you're definitely going to experience a lot of these feelings of wanting to be isolated, feeling anxiety. Anxiety can be anywhere from feeling like your skin is running to hyperventilating and panic attacks. So yes, it's definitely going to affect your relationship, because it's a wide, like I said, the symptoms are so wide range that they're still discovering every day. Okay, so it can make you feel like even like, like abandoned things of like abandonment feelings or triggers, and you feel like, oh, I'm codependent on my partner, or you can even resent your partner just for loving and care about you, because you probably, you may have had something happen in your past where you didn't feel that like that was a thing that you had, and you may feel like, oh, I can't really trust this, or they just make one mistake, you excuse me, exacerbate it, and it's a little extreme, but we all, like I said, mental health can go like from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high, and it's no like definite finger point, like, oh, boom, this means this. No, it can really go up and down. So that's the reason why disclosure is so important. Okay, um, the more and more you excuse me, the more and more that you develop relationship with your partners, and your intimate partner relationships, you can, if you're comfortable, continue that conversation around mental illness, because communication is the best part for you, is vital for your relationships to survive, because you're going to always have to keep changing boundaries. You're going to always have to keep on sticking to your standards, especially if someone's deciding, hey, I'm going to stay with you, and they're going to always have to keep on sticking to their standards and also changing up their boundaries as well when it comes to you. And it does not mean that someone doesn't love you. It does not mean that you don't love them. It means that shit change, people change, times change, mental health changes, and a lot of times it changes for the better. So just keep that in mind. Don't feel like anyone's, thinking low of you. Just feel like, you know what? This is a process, right? It's a process that I'm in, and I'm here now, but this is not my end story. This is not the end of my chapter. This is not the end of my novel, right? So I'm going to ride through this, and I have a support system. I'm going to try to communicate as best as I can and do what I need to do for myself to keep myself balanced and in good health, right? Keep that in mind, because you can have mental health issues and still have good health mentally. Hello? Right. So, some people do choose like things like couples therapy or things of that nature. And it definitely helps them grow in relationships. And it definitely, I do feel all the time that healing sessions with couples, I don't call it couples therapy, I call it couples healing sessions, because I feel like that, not even I know that when people are coming to that space, it's a space created for them to actually heal, elevate, listen, receive, give, take, so it's more so a healing space. But healing is definitely therapy. Hello. Why you gotta be so difficult, Empress? Hello, I do not know. That's just me, right? Okay, so keep that in mind, right? Because a lot of couples, they try to work through stuff on their own. We could get through this, and it's extremely toxic. Like some people, just like, it's just this whole conversation too. Like, not to even like compare mental health to sex, right? But I noticed that a lot of people, because I teach like tantra and like sex education. Okay, even to like I used to go to the high schools and teach teenage girls about sex education, their periods and stuff like that. So I noticed that a lot of adults, when you talk to adults, teenagers are so inquisitive. They ask questions. When you talk to adults about sex, oh, I know how to get off. Oh, I know how to have orgasm. Oh, I know how to fix my relationship. I don't need nobody help. Hello? Dun, dun, dun. Exactly. So it's like, wow, you're not in a receiving place. So when you think about mental illness, even in relationships, if someone knows they have, oh no, I know how to cater to my partner, we'll be fine. We don't need no couples therapy. Especially in the black community, black and brown community, it's a stigma around therapy. But like I said, you watch, I mean, like we're in a social media tech age, right? And you go to TikTok, you go to Instagram, and people have hashtags called toxic relationships. You see people busting out windows, screaming and crying, narcissistic abuse hashtags. And you see all these couples, in these communities, and it's like, wow. And you think, like, how many of these people feel like that couples therapy was beneath them? Like, how many of these people felt like that they had it all together and they could figure it out? Ego drives a lot of people to the wrong places. It's like a whole damn train ride. It's like a bullet train. You get in that bitch and it just take you away. Hello? Like, period, right? So it take you far, far away from the point that you need to be, which is balance, harmony, and mayat, right? It's all the same thing, mayat, okay? Or if you want to go yin yang yang, okay? You're like, what's mayat? Let's not get into that today. But you can just say yin yang yang. It take you to that balanced place, that place of harmony, that place of wellness. And that's the place where you want to be with your mental health. And also, if you have a supportive partner, I put the emphasis on supportive partner, because you can have a partner that don't give two shits about you. They like I said, they can use your mental illness against you. They can manipulate you. I've seen it happen. Everybody's seen it happen. Working in a community, being in the mental health field, seeing, especially with women, you can see women that's like, overweight, and they're just feeling like they're lost, their hair not done, they're smelling and different things of that nature. And then, like, we come in and we love and we restore them and remind them, like, hey, someone took advantage of you. Doesn't mean you don't have value. It doesn't mean that you're ugly. It doesn't mean that you're worthless. It is sad, though, because people will take advantage of people with mental health disorders. That's why I feel like that disclosure is so important. So you're not signing yourself up for some BS, right? You're not signing yourself up for BS, because then you can actually work with your therapist if you're in therapy, or your counselor or anything like that in the community. Hopefully you have one where you can set out boundaries and standards, and they can help you stick to them or guide you to stick to them in your relationship, because they can't tell you what to do. But if you're allotting boundaries with them, like, these are the things I want to do, they can remind you of your boundaries, right? So you're not allowing anyone to take advantage of you. You're not allowing anyone to put you beneath yourself. And that's completely important, okay? Hello? I'm trying to tell you. Like, it could be overweight, underweight, that whole it can work both ways. I'm trying to tell you. So it's extremely important to invest in yourself. It's so much free therapy out here. It's so many free places you can go to get diagnosed. So many places you can go to get free medicine. If you desire medicine, even like holistic workers like myself, we offer free services to people with mental health issues. Hello? It's about asking. It's about putting yourself out there. Like, hey, do you mind having a session with me? Because I just can't take it anymore. I just need someone to listen to me. We can't diagnose you, if we're not in that field of diagnosing. But we definitely can give you a listening ear and give you some tips and some resources so you can find the proper person who will be able to help you with that issue, right? Hello? We're not able to if it's out of our range. And that's that whole integrity behind holistic workers and different things like that, where they're helping you and guiding you to the places you need to go. And if they're not, clinically responsible enough to handle it on their own. Okay? So I definitely want you to understand that having mental illness in relationship does not make you lower. It does not make you low class. It does not make you low value. None of these stupid things that people say is absolutely completely asinine, if you ask me. Hey Crystal, hey baby, great rising. Welcome to the AM Inspiration Show. Thank you so much for always supporting us. I'm so happy to see you here. Period. Yes. So, Crystal, if you have any questions or anything you want to put in the chat, I will definitely read it out loud to all our friends across the board. So go ahead and ask those questions or put those statements in that chat, and I definitely will share. Okay? All righty. Now, getting back, let's see if anyone's on Club Deck. Let's see. Hey, y'all. Let's see if anyone wants to add to the conversation. Anyone want to come up? Hey, Book. So let me see. Do you want to come on up here? I'm going to invite you up. So make sure that you keep your comments to 1 to 1.5 minutes. Yeah, we are streaming live. So welcome to the AM Inspiration Show. Book, how you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Okay, anything you want to add to how mental health can impact your relationships, any experience you have, or anything like that? Keep in mind that you are streaming live on all networks right now, so they all can hear you. Period. Hello?
Well, I just wanted to add the same. It's important in friendships as well because I've been in a relationship that it wasn't friendship, wasn't together, and I didn't know that this person had mental health, and it became a strain. It still is a strain now. Finds out what that person is suffering with and the way that they handle certain situations, and how we need to have an understanding that this person has a mental health issue, so you kind of got to work around them. So I think it's important to let people know from the beginning what's going on within your, circumstances, so people can make that choice in the beginning rather than later on. So yeah, that's what I had to say.
Period. Okay, it is a completely important, completely important imperative, like you said, to set those what, Miss Book, those boundaries, because you don't know what somebody is going through, and you are not able to gauge them sometimes, and you have to figure it out. So that means that you had to set more boundaries around what, yourself. I love your response. Thank you so much for sharing. If you think of anything else, please just unmute your mic and go ahead and share. So I am going to read a comment from Facebook right off of StreamYard. So it says, no question here, but there's a comment. I've dealt with two men who were very important in my existence, and they both downplayed and mocked my mental illness. Game changer that definitely taught me to rely on myself more for healing. Hello. Now, that's something that I definitely just talked about. I definitely have this similar experience, of going through something and having someone take advantage of the position that I was in. It's like, oh, this person is more vulnerable now, so let me try to manipulate the situation to get what I want out of it. Hello? And we are not having those conversations in our community. So this is why a lot of people feel like they are alone. They have to deal with things alone because someone has came in and made them feel so low, or made them feel like they were a problem because they had something going on mentally and they only wanted support. So what do you think about that, Miss Book?
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Like I was saying, the person that I was talking to or around about, they made it out like they had everything together. But as something, hit the fan, and it wasn't even a big situation, they had a total meltdown. I'm talking about crying on the floor, screaming. I felt like I was dealing with my children. So definitely, they need to let us know, what's going on and what we're getting ourselves into. And definitely, like the lady said, you need to learn to rely on yourself and your intuition. So I definitely agree.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Miss Book, for your response. Yes, Crystal, I see you came back in. I don't know, maybe you're having technical difficulties. But yeah, so I definitely understand how you feel, and I'm extremely sorry that happened to you. And like we said, that literally happens a lot of the times where you might meet people and they're like, oh, this person is going to be vulnerable. I get to take advantage of them. And they're already coming in with like that, like the story of not Ready Locks, Goldilocks and the wolf, right? There's the wolves in Granny's clothing, right? And they show up like they are there to support you. All along, they have a plan to devalue you, to use you, to abuse you, to hurt you and manipulate you, and not be supportive at all. So that's extremely important to have those because I feel like you have standards and boundaries around what you're going through or your mental illness that protects you and lets you know that, hey, somebody's crossing the line here, or hey, somebody, like, they're signaling, like, these red flags are being signaled because the way they're treating me. And that's extremely important when you're managing your mental health. Sometimes when you're not managing your mental health, it's harder to see these red flags. It's harder to gauge that someone really is treating you poorly. It's harder to even see that you are in a situation, especially if you're living together, that is not good for you, because a lot of the times they love bomb you when you have mental illness, and especially if it's someone that's trying to hurt you or manipulate you. They love bomb you, and your brain get clouded up, and you really can't see what you need to see, unfortunately, because all the chemical releases in the brain, and then you already have mental illness going on. So it's a lot of confusion, a lot of haziness, and you're just like, you know what, I'll just do whatever they want so they can just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that's how it most of the time it plays out that way for a lot of people, unfortunately. Excuse me. So I just, I always, think about it, and I'm like, you know what, it's kind of crazy, because if people knew that half of adults experience mental illness at least once in their existence, they would be a lot more nicer, including themselves. You know what I mean? They would be a lot more nicer to people. They would be more compassionate, more empathetic, um, because it can cause a decrease in your life expectancy. It can cause a decrease in your quality of your existence, right? Your productivity, your employment, and even your of course your physical health. Because I just said your life expectancy. Okay. Um, so mental illness can include things like post-traumatic stress disorder, major depressive order, which is MDD, generalized anxiety disorder, even alcoholism is a mental alcoholism is defined as a mental illness now. Okay, and the list goes on and on and on. Narcissistic personality order disorder is a mental illness, and I'm not taking up for narcissistic people because I just think that a lot of times people don't understand that that's still a disease. Mental disease is how somebody's brain. You know, it literally is. It literally is. You know, they talk about it like it's not like something really is not wrong with these people that may have. Oh shit balls! Sorry guys. Aiden, come and help me. Oh, sorry guys. I literally he just dropped my frankincense on my floor. Sorry for that, guys. I don't want to start a fire in my house. I knocked my whole frankincense thing on my floor, and the fire is on my floor. Sorry about that. I had to jump to it. Ah! Don't put that there. I'm asking my son for help, and he just looking at me. All right, it's fire everywhere. He just looking at me. Excuse me. I almost got it all. Excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that was about. Okay, got it all. Got it. Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Had to stop, guys. Had to stop. Had to stop. Didn't even have time to mute. Didn't even have time to mute. I apologize. So well, oh, narcissistic personality. Yes. So that's one of the disorders that a lot of people classify as people just being a jerk, people just being, you know, like a hole. But they had to remember that it's something wrong with that brain too. Like under an MRI scan, it's not a healthy brain. Okay, parts of that brain is not healthy. You know, that medulla oblongata, like certain areas of the region of the brain, like the back of the brain, that prefrontal cortex, certain things on that brain scan is not normal. So it's definitely a mental illness and a mental disease. Now, shame, guilt, and resentment is one of the biggest things attached to having a relationship with someone with mental illness, because it's a stigma that's attached to it, right? And it adds extra layer of stress to someone. You know, I had someone tell me that I really loved and cared about told me, you know, when something happened to me that I didn't need therapy. I didn't need that. I just needed them. I'm like, you barely communicate now, so I'm just supposed to sit here with this and not communicate at all. You get what I'm saying, guys? So I'm not even laughing. I'm like crying right now because that's crazy. Because these are the wild things that people say just to have you where they want to have you at your lowest point, right? They don't want you to get better. Sometimes I really feel that way. That some people hear that you're sick and they don't want you to get better because they feel like when you're sick, you're more vulnerable and it's more susceptible to believe anything they say to you or do whatever they want you to do. Does that make any sense? Right.
100%. Can I also add as well, narcissists usually really like hide their mental illness at like a high level, and when they start to have those breakdowns, they start to pick and find out what's going on with them. It's like they can't keep that level of pretense up anymore, and that's when they seem to explode or they become violent as well.
Listen, we only got sharpshooters on our team. Period. Period, Miss Book. Thank you. Come through, sis. Period. We only got sharpshooters on our team. I'm trying to tell you. Yes. So thank you so much for that because it's on point. You know, and I appreciate the details. I definitely love that. I love that share. I love that. Thank you. Because I don't feel like that it's an excuse because you know I've run into my share. You know what I mean? But I also feel like it needs to be more knowledge spread about it because there's a lot of falseness spread about it. You know, I in a way I feel empathy because I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't know what I would do if my brain was like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel like they don't even know what they're doing. They feel like it's okay, like it's normal for them that they're doing these things. It's not. They don't see the problem. So that's the part I feel sorry for. Like you're literally living in your own personal hell and you don't see a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? And you repeat these things over and over and over your whole life. That's crazy. You know? And even with therapy, it's still hard because guess what? It's like a brain malfunction. So it's still hard for them to even not repeat it. It's easier for them to find coping ways to cope with it. But like his name is called mental illness. He always talk about it. He said, yeah, I'm in therapy, but I'm still a narcissist. He's at work every day to not display these traits to my family. He said, but I'm still a narcissist at heart. He like every day I'm still a narcissist. I'm diagnosed, and he makes that distinction that a lot of people think, oh, you're gonna go to therapy. He's like, no, my therapist told me the first day I was in therapy, I'm not gonna cure you from narcissism. I'm here to help you find coping mechanisms so you can get on with your daily life and not basically treat people like shit. You know what I'm saying? And yourself too. You know, so I just love that share that you just had. Yeah, so I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say also, family members, a lot of family members know that certain members of their family have this mental illness and are narcissists. And they also cover it up. So they won't even tell you that their son, their cousin, their daughter, their brother, whatever's got problems. They're just like, oh, they're just upset, they're just angry, oh, it's your fault, finds everything to be your fault, but they won't admit that their child or their family member needs help.
You was in the Matrix. I didn't hear the end part of that. All I heard was family. I didn't hear the end part.
And that doesn't make the situation any better. Do you know what I mean? So if we're in a family dynamic, a whole community of sick people.
Period. And that's literally how it can go. Um, it can definitely go that way of having people that are sick, having people that are not well, that are not there to actually uplift you, to support you, unfortunately. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. Or like you said, the ones that coddle, the ones that hide and protect, and then you have these stories of men or women murdering and hurting people. Trigger warning, hello. And they're like, oh, well, this person was always sick at the court hearing. Really? Because you didn't tell the victim anything. You let them be in a relationship with them. You let them have kids with them. You let them marry them, and you didn't give her no hints or him no hints that something was really wrong with this person. You know what I'm saying? Well, I thought they knew. No, you knew they didn't know. Y'all knew it was a secret. You didn't even tell them, the person. You know what I'm saying? They think people could grow out of it. That's one of the most toxic shit I ever heard of in black and brown communities. Oh, they're gonna grow out of that. You gonna grow out of mental illness for real? No medicine, nothing. You gonna grow out of it? No therapy? Okay. So I don't know if you ever heard of that before. The whole you gonna grow out of it thing.
Oh, that's about it.
This is like toxic.org,
I've
right?
heard about it. I've heard about that. It's your fault.
Right. The whole toxic.org. That's what I call it.
I
Toxic.org.
believe that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Toxic.org. That's the right one.
Yeah, toxic.org. We don't really use that word on this podcast. It's overused, but this definitely is fitting. Family can be toxic.org. You go look up toxic.org and find your family member face. Like, ooh, the family member that let, the mental illness carry on, and then the person is in jail for life for hurting someone because they didn't get their family member help because they were in denial. As a parent with special needs children, my ex-husband was in denial the whole time. I still think he is to this day that something was even going on with them. So I wound up taking care of him. He was always at work, taking care of the household. I was always at home, working from home with therapists, physical therapists, OT all day long. That was my days. And when I had time, I could sew clothes and make stuff for the boutique to make money or do events and stuff on the side. But literally, my days was filled with therapists. It's like we was on first name basis. They started coming to my baby showers when I had another child. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how well I knew them for years and stuff like that. And it's crazy. I just see that the other side of the family would always say, "Oh no, you just want something to be wrong with them." I said, who would want something to be wrong with their baby? Like who would want something to be wrong with their child? And it's just fascinating to me that people think mental illness is a fucking game. You know what I mean? Like it's something cute. Like why would you brag about it? Why would you want something to be wrong with your child? That's crazy. But that's that what you call it uninformedness, uninformed information, uninformed, the lack of empathy, and they're suffering from their own form of whatever. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm hitting any points here, but I feel like I am.
No, you're hitting a great point. Because again, when people don't tell you what kind of relationship you're entering into, and you have children, and then you don't know why these children are acting
Listen,
certain way because it's genetically passed down. And some people just need the children parent that had the mental illness. One of my children was diagnosed with Tourette's, and I believe his father has a mental illness. His what do you call it? You know, when they clean a lot. I don't know what it's called. He's always clean. He has to do extra tidy. But apparently, that is a form of mental illness, and it can be passed down to children, and it can come out in ADHD, Tourette's, different sorts of diagnosis. So it is really important to give that person the decision if they want to go ahead and have children with you. And so I really agree with letting everyone know what's happening.
yep, I definitely agree. I didn't find out till after I had my son that they had some shit going on in their family, and then like when he with his new my ex husband with his new fiance, and they have a baby that has autism as well. So it's all you, bro. It's all you. So you got 3 children with autism, and you don't think you a problem? Are you still out there making babies? It's just people don't have no damn respect for themselves or other people. But that's a whole nother conversation. Guys, that's a whole nother conversation. Vet the whole family before having sex. That's gonna be our new conversation the next time. Vet the whole entire family before you have sex with somebody. This is why you court. Because you meeting random brothers and shit that you never even knew existed after you have a child. Like, what's wrong with him? That's why you always hide him away. I see. The hell? You know? Jeez, you know? Like, the only thing you heard was his name for months and months and months. You know, you heard his name, you never met him until after the child was born. You're like, who the hell is that? Why he in my face while I'm breastfeeding? Oh, excuse me. Boundaries, you know? Um, Unfortunately, that's like you said before. You said it the first time you first jumped on. You said people hide. They hide family members. They hide the fact that family members are suffering from things, and it's because they like back in the day. I guess that stigma attached to it is like, oh, it makes you a low quality person. It makes your family low quality, or they say, oh, that's a person with the family with the child. That's something's wrong with them, and unfortunately, people think that way. So, but yeah, we about to wrap this thing up. So, of course, I'm going to ask you if you have anything to add up there on Facebook, Twitter, Spaces, whatever, wherever you at. Throw them questions up, throw those statements up, and even on Clubhouse, if you have anything that add, unmute your mic before we head on out of here, and just let us hear about how mental health can impact relationships, your experience, or anything like that before we head on out this door. Period.
Just one more thing I wanted to add is stop making excuses for them.
Period. Period. That was a mouthful. Stop making excuses. Stop justifying. Stop deflection, and just accept things, people for who they are, and learn how to deal with it and go from there. With that being said, this has been the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up consciously, spiritually, physically, emotionally, physically, financially, and soulfully. Hello. Streaming live on all networks. I will catch you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, 7 days a week, 365. And this week we are covering manifestations and mental health. Period. So we will catch you tomorrow with another spiritual topic. Take care. Peace, y'all.